on up. And ladies and gentlemen, for Robin.
Its name was Rainbow Asswipe, and it didn't have any strings, and it had stucco-like splatterings of multicolored paint all over it. And other than being a totally non-functioning bass guitar, it was sort of like a trophy, an Academy Award, validating years of adolescent infatuation and obsession. I had plenty of schoolgirl crushes when I was growing up, but the one that was the most supernaturally affecting on my daydreams was this boy named Jimmy, who I met at summer camp when I was 9. And the first thing I noticed about him was that he had a silver stud of a sperm earring. At 12 years old, I was only 9 years old, and I thought, you know, like, oh my God, he must be a runaway or an orphan, or at least he doesn't eat his vegetables. I mean, it had to be something. And he was super tall and lanky, and in my like crazy cartoon world of beauty, he was like a Botticelli. He was just so graceful and stunning in a 12-year-old grimy boy sort of way. And when I met him at summer camp at the YMCA, he would tease me, and I knew it wasn't mean teasing, but it was the teasing that only a 12-year-old boy can do. He called me Professor Weirdo, and I don't remember whether or not I told him to call me that, or that was his name for me, but it stuck the whole summer until he vanished out of my life, and then came back in high school, when he ended up being the best friend of a really good friend of mine. I told Katie that I had met him in summer camp, and he left this impression on me. So the first time he called her house to speak to her brother, she immediately thrust the phone into my ear and said, "Do you remember Robin?" and gave the phone to me. And I just sat there with silent palpitations. And on the other line, I heard him say, "So, what kind of music do you like, Professor Weirdo?" Do you remember my nickname? And I said, "I don't know, I listen to the stuff on the radio," which I knew was a really stupid answer. It was completely like uninspired and didn't have any passion. And he validated that. He said, "That's dumb." And I knew it wasn't me. He was just passionate because he was into music. And after our phone reunion, I saw him for the first time at his age 17 in our high school courtyard performing on his bass guitar. And he had completely blossomed since we were younger. He was, you know, had shaggy hair and thumb holes in his arm sleeves, and he was a total freak hippie. And I don't know if he had an extra vertebrae, but he had this really long torso that made him look like one of those Na'vis, like the humanoids from Avatar. And I was totally in love all over again. And I remember seeing him perform in the courtyard, and I only watched half his set, and the other half I spent locked in the bathroom in the high school hallway because I couldn't handle it. I was totally overcome with infatuation, and I knew actually that he had a girlfriend, but it was okay because I was so into him. I knew that in my timid stage of like awkward teen, you know, tween uncertainty, I wouldn't ever try to get him anyway, but I just fantasized in the bathroom stall about going back to infancy and taking on an instrument like guitar or bass, and then, you know, really studying it and becoming a pro, and then meeting him again at summer camp at 9, and us with our instruments playing together, and, you know, like the stars would align, and unicorns would crap rainbows, and everything would world peace, and we would be in love, and that was my dream. And obviously that could never happen. And then through the rest of high school, I was always tormented, mainly by the fact that he was friends with my friend's older brother, so would treat me in the certain way that one does. He would find me in the high school hallway and grab me and twist me upside down and scream "Professor Weirdo" in my face. Or, you know, like I'd be eating my lunch and he'd come over and sit down and he'd steal a fry and say like, "Oh, I saw you walking around in a bathing suit at Katie's house. You look pretty cute." He had a girlfriend, so that wasn't easy to deal with either. And I spent so much time in high school in the bathroom stall that people thought I had an eating disorder. So basically, at some point in high school, I got up the courage to say, you know, like, screw it, carpe diem, I'm going to go spend a day hanging out with this guy and figure out who he is. And we got together, we spent the day. He was a little older, so he was living in Philly at the time. And we just walked around joking about, you know, like cartoons and pigeons and me wanting to learn how to play bass. And he confided that he wanted to propose to his girlfriend, which was okay, because that's not what this day was about. I wanted to just get to know him and not, you know, treat him like this romantic fascination. And nothing ever happened between us, and it was great. And I felt like, you know, I didn't have to live in this fantasy world anymore. But at the end of our day, he ended up giving me his bass guitar, Rainbow Asswipe. And all of a sudden I was catapulted again into a world of fantasy, and I ended up living in my room in college for 4 years. As a reminder that even though you don't get what it is that you desire, you can still have your desire. And I'm still a romantic person to this day. Thank you very much.
Ah, Robin.